My guest tonight is a woman that you may think you already know. Where do you start when a woman has lived so much life? She's been in the public eye for over 40 years now. As First Lady of Arkansas, First Lady of the United States, Senator of New York, Secretary of State, and now she's running for president. The Hillary you are about to see in this exclusive interview is a side of her that is rarely seen. I wanted to talk a little bit about your mom because you've said in interviews that your mom had a very traumatic childhood, that she was abandoned by her parents and her grandparents.
Right.
And I know a bit about abandonment myself, and it's a form of neglect, which manifests the same way that physical abuse does in all the studies that have happened. And I was wondering how that impacted her ability to mother you.
She was a great mom. She was so supportive, but encouraging and motivating at the same time. And then when I learned later about what seemed to be so cruel, the way she was treated, and you're right about abandonment, you never get over it.
You learn to live with it.
You learn to live with
it.
And you try to be resilient in the face of it and try to not make the mistakes do what others did to you.
Maybe that's why she was the kind of mother she was with you. She wanted to give you everything that she knew she was lacking.
I think you're 100% right. And she told me one time, because I asked her, I said, how did you survive? How could you not end up bitter and broken? And she said, because along the way people were kind to me, and they made her feel like she mattered, even though her own family didn't.
It only takes one person to believe in you.
I believe that. See, I think every child needs a champion.
You must have had someone who believed in you so much, who raised you, that when you were a little girl, you said, I want to be the first female astronaut.
That's right.
I mean, that was not common thinking when you were a child.
But that was my mother.
Right.
That was my mother. And my mother, said to me all the time, it's not whether you get knocked down in life, it's whether you get back up.
When I was about 14, I was in a children's home. And that was when I really got the sense that I didn't have a voice. And why did I not have a voice, but the boys in the home had a voice? And it instilled in me a deep, deep, deep desire to give women and girls a voice and a platform. And I've had it my whole life because of this experience. I was wondering, was there a defining moment for you that you got in touch with the fact that you needed to be an advocate for women and girls?
As a girl growing up and being told by the boys in the neighborhood that I couldn't play with them because I was a girl, I had the experience early on that there were attitudes that people had that really separated boys from girls and in effect discriminated against girls.
Right.
And it was my mother and my dad. I have to give my father credit.
Where is your dad in all this?
Well, he was hardly, what we would call a feminist by any stretch of the imagination, but he had a strong conviction that people should rise or fall on their own merits and their hard work. He was a very old-fashioned,
he was Republican,
self-reliant, yes, Republican, conservative, but had a very strong belief that individuals should be judged on their merits. On their merits.
I'm down with that. I gotta say, I like that.
I do too. And so he would say, well, you just do the best you can, and you get out there, and if you want to, run for office in your grade school, you run. As I went through, my girlhood and young adulthood, I would encounter obstacles, but I always remembered my parents and just thought, okay, how do I get around this? How do I?
There's got to be a way.
There's got to be a way. As I became an adult, I realized how many structural barriers
were in place.
I tried very hard because there's so many brave women out there that didn't necessarily have the position or the platform that I had.
But you also created the platform for yourself.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's the thing that, you felt so strongly about these things that you actually started taking action when you were early on in your life.
Right.
And now you're sitting where you're sitting. So you have created that platform for yourself to talk about these things. I want to ask you a little bit about your parents' marriage and what kind of role models they were for you in the marriage department.
Well, it was a very traditional post-World War II American marriage. My father was a small businessman, so he'd leave in the morning, he'd go to work, and then he'd come home for dinner. And my mother was a homemaker and a full-time mom, but she was always taking courses, you know, in high school extension courses or college courses.
She probably had a chunk of time where she didn't get to learn. So when she
That's
did,
right.
she just wanted to absorb.
So-
did that impact your choices in your marriage? Because you had this example.
Well, I had a very different expectation because, you know, I wanted to work full time. I didn't know quite when I was growing up what I wanted to do. I ended up going to law school and, you know, met my husband whose mother had always worked. And I was so fortunate because he had the model of his own mother getting up every day, going to work, and knew that in a family, a woman working was not some, you know, revelation. It was what normal people did.
I was thinking about your husband, and do you have like rules about like not talking shop all the time? You know what I mean? You're like, okay, we've had 12 hours of this now. Like, let's talk about something else.
We try to.
We
really do. We really
Okay.
try to. But we're both so interested in the same things, and it's not all shop in terms of, oh, what's happening in the election. It's more like, did you see that really neat article? We're constantly talking about the country and the world and what we can do to try to make a contribution. But we also have fun. We like to watch TV together. We like to go to movies together. We like to go on long walks together. We like
what's
to go
your
to
date
dinner.
night like?
It's usually a movie and dinner. But now a lot of our time is spent with our granddaughter. So even when we've got time together, it may not be to go out so much as to go into New York or stop in New York and see Charlotte.
You historically are one of the very few women in a predominantly male arena. And I was watching the debates the other night. I was thinking, oh my God, I would never want to get in an argument with this woman, for a start. Number two, I was thinking, how do you process all the emotion coming at you?
It's a really, really smart question. And here's my dilemma. Maybe you can give me some advice here. Okay. It's really important not to wall yourself off from how you are actually feeling about what people say or how they treat you or how they treat somebody else that offends you or upsets you. But you're also, as a woman in a high public position or seeking the presidency, as I am, you have to be aware of how people will judge you
For being emotional.
for being, quote, emotional. And so it's a really delicate balancing act. How you navigate what is still a relatively narrow path to be yourself, to express yourself, to let your feelings show, but not in a way that triggers all of the negative stereotypes.
Right. I hope you process it somewhere at home because
I do a
you
lot.
don't- yeah.
And with close friends.
Yes.
You know, I say often, you know, when you are criticized, take criticism seriously but not personally.
And sometimes that is said in a way that is unkind or
That's
cruel,
right.
but you always have to look at how much truth is in this.
That's right. But don't let it tear you down. Don't let it disable you. And I think that's especially important for young women.
Very much so.
Who are getting out into the world of work and they think so much has changed and they're still encountering a lot of the old prejudices.
I could sit and talk to you for so long.
This is so much
I
fun.
know. Okay, so these are a few questions that I ask everyone that comes on my
Good.
show.
Okay.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
By far, my mother's advice, she gave me lots of it, but one I remember is you have to decide whether you're going to be the lead in your own life or an extra in somebody else's.
Oh my God. I wish I'd met your mom
Oh,
now.
I wish you had too.
She really sounds incredible.
I mean, unbelievably wise.
What a powerhouse.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that scares you?
Ooh, snakes.
Oof.
I hate snakes.
How do you define success?
A sense of purpose and meaning in your life that gives you gratitude and joy.
I relate to that. What is your idea of freedom?
Being able to be who I am and being able to do what I believe in.
What would you tell your 14-year-old self?
Do the best you can. Don't be so worried about how you are perceived or how you look or how well you do. Just do the best you can and make the most out of every single day.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I loved it.
I invited some friends to join us on the conversation couch with Secretary Clinton. GloZell, Maya, and Chriselle are all innovators in their own rights, crashing the glass ceiling in an industry they are creating themselves. GloZell is a comedian with over 5 million subscribers on YouTube. Shameless Maya took a question and turned it into a movement. She wondered why we allow shame to silence women. And new mom Chriselle Lim is a fashion stylist who runs her very own online empire.
I am very career-oriented, and I do YouTube. My YouTube channel is Shameless Maya, and it was born out of me giving myself permission to celebrate who I am without shame or fear.
Yay.
Now,
that's so important.
Yes, and I tell that message and I preach that message with my viewers because we allow shame and fear to govern a lot of the choices we make.
Cripple people.
Now, how do you allow yourself to step out of the box and be yourself without the fear and the shame getting to you?
Shame and fear are crippling conditions.
They are.
And you know, one of the best things you can do to help people kind of overcome their own feelings of shame and fear is to give them an opportunity to go help somebody else.
Be of service.
Be of service.
And to tell your story.
You tell your story and help some other person who may need to hear that from you. Don't let anybody take your power away. Don't let anybody convince you that you're not a worthwhile human being, that you're somehow deficient, that you're not this or you're not that. And surround yourself with people who are not putting out negative energy, but who can sort of play into your efforts to be a positive.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations. You're about to be a grandmother again.
I can't wait.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
GloZell. It's pretty exciting.
It is. I am about to be a mom. Now, this journey for me has taken a long, long time because I went to college and then I got my career together. And by the time I got my career together and gotten married, I've had issues with fertility. And that's taken years and years. And finally, through a surrogate, we're going to have a kid.
Congratulations.
That's so
Thank you,
great.
thank you.
And by the way, many women have issues with
Yes.
fertility. It's not something that's often spoken about, but it's very common.
But it should be.
It should
so
be.
that there's no sense of isolation.
Exactly.
For me, since I'm a new mom, my baby is 11 months now. The issue that I'm going through personally is just the guilt. Did you ever feel the guilt of having to do both when you were, working plus being a mother?
Yes, all the time. I don't know that it's possible to escape that sense of guilt because, when you become a mom, and you'll see this, GloZell, it is such an overwhelming experience and responsibility, and you want to do right by that baby all the time. But don't give up your career if it's something that you feel is important to you before you work out all of the logistics to try to make sure that you're doing the best you can to do both. Everybody's different, and you shouldn't let the pressure of anybody else say, oh, well, you need to give up work or you need to keep working. You have to decide what's best for you and how you manage it.
And I think there's so many women now that are doing it, such as yourself and yourself as well, Amanda, that you look at people that are kind of in a similar situation and you're like, okay, I think I can do this too.
And that's why it's so important for us to share our stories about how we do it.
Right.
Because if we can't look to other women that have gone before us and said, okay, this is what works for them, then how do we know? That's why we need role models.
Right.
We want to support our women to have the career and, be with the men and you can own your own business, but then it's time to have a kid and the pressure's on.
100% right. And here's what I think about that. I think it's so unfair. I think we're the only advanced economy in the world that doesn't have paid family leave.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be a good thing? Because sometimes, women who have babies, they are feeling even under more pressure, a different kind of pressure, because they have to go right back to work. They have to, try to figure out how to balance this. They've never done it before. I just think we make it so hard. And I want us to have paid family leave. I want us to have paid sick days, which a lot of people in our country don't yet have. I want us to make sure that we support, young women in making these important decisions. I didn't go into politics until, other than through my husband's political career, until like 1999 when I ran for the Senate. And I did that in part because I felt like people wanted me to, and maybe I was saying no because I was afraid, and I always
Back
try
to your fear question.
I always try to understand why I'm afraid of something.
Same here.
You know, and try to break it down and don't just react, but try to figure out how you're going to, you know, diminish it or confront it. And that, I think, is a lifelong learning.
And look for those teachers.
That's exactly right. Yeah, there are a lot of things to be afraid of,
A lot.
but you can't be governed by fear. You cannot give in to fear. You have to move from fear to resolve and resilience. And easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yes.
But people can be helped on that journey. Sometimes it's personal, systematic, whatever, but we have to keep looking for ways to make that happen.
Speaking of fear, I heard that you're not scared of hot peppers.
I'm not.
Really?
I love hot peppers.
Oh, we know what we're getting you for Christmas.
I believe that they have kept me really healthy for about 25 years.
Really? 'Cause
Yes.
they tried to kill me.
Yes. Did they try to kill you? Do you have a bad experience? You know, there is an ingredient actually in it that is supposed to help your immune system.
Oh, wow.
That's what
Okay, now I'm
going
going to have to try it because I'm all about supporting the immune system. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
What attribute do you think that a female president could bring to
The White House.
Yeah.
I really believe we need more love and kindness and nurturing in our country and in the world. I mean it seriously. I think we are tearing people down. We are pointing fingers, shaming people. And I'm not saying that this is only about women, but I think we do have a history of trying to figure out how you get people to get along, maybe even just in a big old family, how we create a more welcoming and more supportive environment for a lot of Americans who I worry are anxious, insecure, fearful about their lives and about the future. You know, when you turn on the media now, and I mean, I don't mean to sound as critical as this probably will sound, but it's so negative.
Negative,
It's
very.
so
That is the truth.
negative.
Yeah.
I mean,
Preaching.
just
It's
constant.
almost like a reality show.
It
It's like
is
for
And-
ratings. It's
but
like,
it's not.
what
But
can
it's
we
not
do to
real
make-
because
yeah, it's not
you know
real.
people have. There's more opportunities. There still is a lot of kindness and support.
We have to highlight those
We
stories and
do.
those people. That's what I try to do
And,
with
and
the
everybody
show.
says, "Oh, that's not news." You know what? In today's environment,
It is.
that is news.
It is. That's
right?
the unique thing when
Yeah.
someone's doing something positive.
Yeah.
Can I have one quick question?
Yes.
What does a girls' night look like, and when was the last time you had one?
Honestly,
Honestly.
with my friends, literally just going out, usually to somebody's house, so we're not, you know, in the public eye, and just having a great time, telling stories, making fun of each other. And I was with a group of my friends at a big event the other night, and we were dancing, and it was crazy.
You do have
Oh
girls'
my
night.
God. It was dancing. Oh my God. It was so much fun. And you know, I sort of forgot that I had high heels on and I'm like, you know, we're jumping, and you know, and we
You
were
whipped the
just-
nay-nay.
We were so happy. Thank you. So happy. Yeah.
Well, this has been an amazing.
Oh, to be continued.
I know.
hope. This
Oh my
has been way too
gosh.
short. Are you kidding? This has been fabulous.
Thank you so much. We've had so
Oh.
much fun with you. Amazing. Thank you very,
I
very
really
much.
enjoyed being with you all, and I wish you all the very best.
We need to get a couple of stills quickly.
So Maya, you want to come on over?
Yes, this is so epic.
Yay!
So good to meet you.
What's your child's name?
Chloe Victoria.
Oh, nice. My daughter's
lovely?
middle name is Victoria. I love that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
Victoria right
We
there.
love it. We love it. Great name. Great name. A woman after my own heart. A pantsuit. A bright colored pantsuit. I love it. I love it. And when's the baby coming?
August 12th.
Yeah. No.
Looking at your shoes, ladies.
Oh my God, there's some good strappy shoes going on here. Beautiful. Does everyone take a selfie with you?
Yeah, it's okay. I like it. Thank you all for coming. Now, how many of you live in California?
I do.
Um,
We all do. When you come to LA, we're gonna see you
Okay,
again.
we'll do it again in
Please,
LA.
I would
Oh.
love that. all of it.
holidays, and
Thank
New
you so
Year.
much.
Thank you, guys.